KZOOMers.
Hey. Good to see you.
Good to see
Yay.
you. Kind of have a small group today, but people are listen to it later. But so such a special week, the week of unity consciousness, and the Song of Songs sends us to our curriculum of love by describing the scene. Here it is. There are 60 queens and 80 concubines and young maidens beyond number. One alone is my dove, my perfect one. One alone, so luminous in her mother's heart. Every maiden delights in her.
Queens and concubines praise her.
So that phrase that says one alone, just sort of says one alone. It just kind of captured me. And there's and so luminous in her mother's heart. And there's a teaching from Llewellyn Vaughan Lee, a great Sufi teacher. It says the sacred principles of life have never been written down. They belong to the heartbeat, to the rhythm of the breath and the flow of blood. They are alive like the rain and the rivers, the waxing and the waning of the moon. If we learn to listen, we will discover that life, the great mother, is speaking to us, telling us what we need to know. And what we need to know is that's that sense of unity consciousness which holds us. And I'm just saying this, Deepak Chopra has a kind of a definition of unity consciousness. He says unity consciousness is a state of enlightenment where we pierce the mask of illusion which creates separation and fragmentation. Behind the appearance of separation is one unified field of wholeness. Here the seer and the scenery are one. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want to get a glimpse of in our KZOOM, just a glimpse of unity consciousness, that oneness that unites us all. And the practice that I want to do, there's one part of it that just says the word one alone, Echad, just knowing that actually all there is, that one, there is only one alone. And sometimes I like to do this practice as a kind of a bowing practice. And when I bow, I'm kind of letting go of separateness with each bow, and then rising up into oneness. And with that bow is just an easy chant that says, one alone, one alone, one alone, one alone, one alone, So just keep that going and just feel that surrender. Achat as you surrender that sense of separateness, enter into even the possibility of unity. There's an invitation into a greater life. And Robert Thurman describes the invitation this way. He says, I invite you to embrace a new reality. It is not a matter of religion, it is a matter of fact, a matter of science, a matter of experiment, and a matter of awareness. I invite you to awaken to the infinite life you already have. No matter what your worldview, I invite you to take up responsibility for your own evolutionary destiny. I invite you to take advantage of your priceless human opportunity to make a definitive turn toward ultimate security, complete freedom, and unbounded happiness.
Ooh, I want that.
What an invitation. Mm-hmm. What an invitation that is.
Oh, boy.
So that that idea of like that taste, it's called the one taste, the taste of one. When you get a taste of it, it's like you then are invited into that larger space of your being, and then it feels like you have to guard that sense, because the world can easily pull you out of it. So I wanted to do a practice that I'm calling the God field, and it's that kind of gesture of coming into the oneness takes a lot of trust, and it feels like when I trust, and when I have trust in that oneness, that it will hold me when I surrender my smallness that I'm holding on to. When I do that, what it says is HaBotayach v'Adonai. Those that trust in this God field, really, what happens is there's a kind of a response, a reward that says chesed yosovavenu. Chesed. So this loving kindness will then surround you. That's the loving kindness of that oneness will surround you, will hold you, and will hold you through all the difficulties of life. So we want to kind of like establish the God field, and I think of it also as that, those of you who have done the EFR with me, energy field recharge, we fill our field with the God force, because otherwise we end up filling it with our own ego, really, and that's we have there's a saying that Rachmil and I say.
Oh. The field.
No. The other saying.
Oh, the other saying.
No self.
No self. No problem. That was a Buddhist teacher summed up Buddhism with those words.
No self. No problem. So when there's no one left there to protect, yeah. We are then filled. Our field becomes the God field, and. It makes life so much simpler.
Oh my gosh. Really. No triggers. You just like, there's no self there to get triggered. It's like, so relaxing. Then that self comes back.
Yeah. But let's taste it. Let's get that little taste. And so it's the trust. It's the one who trusts. That's us. We are the ones who trust in that God field. And then allow that field to be filled with love. And this is a two-part round. We'll do it first together a couple times, and then you can either sing with me or with Rachmiel. So whenever I tell Rachmiel it's going to be a round, he initially gets all upset.
Like, oh no,
No,
I've got to
no,
completely
not a
hold
round.
apart. Well, she's
But then
singing
he does so well.
Oh, thank you, my darling. Yeah, once I get it, it's fun. I got this one.
Yeah. Okay. So and feel it in your body. What does that trust feel like in your body? You might want to sit up a little straighter, a little kind of relax your shoulders, and sense that trust. HaBotayach,
S.of
Bring your attention to the breath and breathe into that sense of trust. Maybe kind of lift yourself up inside, feeling filled with a confidence, with a feeling that you can relax. Just open up to that swirling love that surrounds you when you are in that place of trust. So our chant is an embodied practice. We want to take this sacred phrase and put it inside us so that we can walk through the world and with a kind of a knowing inside, that that we are in the God fields, and we can relax. And when we relax, then we open, and when we open, we receive the blessings of each moment. So, yeah, how'd that feel, everybody? In the middle of the chant, I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. Then I forgot I had to keep chanting. It's just to feel that these sacred words permeating, because it's the words I need to hear.
Yep.
Yeah. So Art Green, Rabbi Art Green says, we are of the one. Each human mind is a microcosm, a miniature replica of the single mind that conceives and becomes the universe. Whoa. I say that again. We are the one. Each human mind is a microcosm, a miniature replica of the single mind that conceives and becomes the universe. To know that oneness and recognize it in all our fellow beings is what life is about. So that, sometimes I feel like almost every question I have, the answer is Shabbat. Shabbat is so kind of central to my being, because of like the way that the momentum of our lives goes. That with the moment we stop that momentum, there is a space that opens up, and that's Shabbat. And there was I did a wedding ceremony for Wendy and Susan, who I don't know if they're here tonight. They often come to KZOOM. I did a wedding ceremony, and it was going to be a Shabbat afternoon ceremony, that we did together. And I looked at the Shabbat afternoon liturgy, and I found this prayer that described Shabbat in such a way that that all of these different qualities came out of we're describing our rest. So the Menuchat, what the description of that Menuchat, which is the rest, was ahavah. It was a rest of love and nidavah, generosity, and Emet, a rest of truth, emunah, and the rest of faith, and Menuchat, a rest of peace, shalom, shalva, and serenity, and the last kind of rest was the perfect rest, in which you find favor, which means a guiltless rest. Because this is what is commanded of us. We need to find that place of restfulness in us, and so it's just perfect, and so the kind of the prayer begins with these words that say Atah, Echad. You are one, v'shimcha Echad. And your name or your essence is one. So we are the one. We are the one. Just one more. We'll do this practice of entering into the rest of that. To resting into the oneness with these different qualities. I just want to give this one other teaching from Llewellyn Vaughan Lee, who says oneness is not a metaphysical idea, but something so simple and ordinary. It is in every breath, in the wing beat of every butterfly, in every piece of garbage left in the city streets. This oneness is life. Life no longer experienced solely through the fragmented vision of the ego, but known within the heart, felt in the soul. This oneness is the heartbeat of life. It is creation's recognition of its creator. In this oneness, life celebrates itself and its divine origin. So to inspire us into that oneness, we begin with that, just acknowledging, that you, and you kind of face that mystery, is that you are one, and your essence is one. And then we rest in these different, we rest into that oneness. And the rest into that oneness calls forth these different qualities. Atah Echad, v'shimcha Echad, all is well. 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 The rest of love and generosity. Menuchat ahavah, all is well. 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 In the rest of truth and faith. Menuchat Emet ve'emunah, all is well. 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 And the rest of peace and serenity. Menuchat Shalom ve'shavah, all is well. Menuchat Shalom ve'shavah, all is well. Menuchat Shalom ve'shavah, all is well. Menuchat Shalom ve'shavah, all is rest in which you find favor, a guiltless rest. Menuchat shleima she'ata rotze ba. All is well. 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 Atah Echad v'shimcha Echad. 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 All is well. Again. Atah Echad v'shimcha Echad. All is well. 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 There is a knowledge and a practice of connecting ourselves with cosmic life. It has nothing to do with belief. It is learned. It is increased by our consciousness of it, by our increasing awareness of the abundance of cosmic energy. Life is infinite, and this infinity can be tapped. The only limitation is one of awareness. That's a teaching by Kabir Haminsky. Life is infinite, and this infinity can be tapped. I love that. The only limitation is one of awareness. So this is he's saying it's a practice. We practice connecting ourselves with the oneness, and I think it's really nurturing. It's very nurturing, it feels like. So I want to do one more practice with you, and it feels like in order to do that connecting with the oneness, there is this practice of turning towards that oneness. It's kind of like turning away from the balagan, the craziness of life, turning towards a certain simplicity of that oneness. And the way that I translate this phrase from Lamentations is let us turn, returned, and be turned. Turn, return, and be turned. So 3 different kind of variations of that verb of hashivenu, that I need to turn, and in that turning, I am returning to who I really am, to my essence. But there's a certain point where I just need to surrender and allow myself to be turned, like and to be turned, which it means like to be transformed. I just have to tell you, I'm sitting on a chair that turns. So this is like I'm actually doing it here. But so to turn, to return to that place inside you of your truth, and then to surrender into that oneness, which is being turned, and which is kind of a letting go of the small identity of that little self that lets us be turned. So if you want to get up and do a little turning, you're welcome to stand up and do some physical turning, and or if you have a chair that goes around like I do, you could do that too.
That's pretty special.
And so essentially, now I start with the English that says, "Now let us
Turn, return, and be turned. Now let us turn, return, and be turned. Now let us turn, return, and be turned to the one Hashivenu. Let
to the one Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula, Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula, Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula, Hallelujah, Helecha v'nashula. Now let us turn and return. Now let us turn and return. Now let us turn and return to the one Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula, Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula, Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula, Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula. Now let us turn and return. Now let us turn and return. Now let us turn and return to the one Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula, Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula, Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula, Hashivenu, yeah, Helecha v'nashula. Now let us turn and return. Now let us turn and return. Now let us turn and return to the one. So, KZOOMers, thank you for your practice.
That was wonderful. Wonderful.
Needed that dip into unity consciousness. I wanted to remind you just to stop by the website, give a little donation in honor of what you have received, and check out what's happening. There's a retreat in September that I was going to have just the alumni, but I decided to open it up to
KZOOMers.
KZOOMers
That's you.
might want to come. That's in September in New Jersey, 10th to 15th. So that, I'm going to stop there.